Hi, and thank you for joining me for today's process video. And today I'm documenting two photos of my daughter and my cousin's girlfriend when we were on the cruise. They'd just taken part in a Beatles quiz and won. So they both had winners' medals on, so I wanted to document that. So I've also got some new stamps and stencils from Arden Creative Studio from Katie Pertiet's latest collection, and I wanted to have a play with those as well. So I've just pulled out scraps for this layout. I'm starting off with my Stampers Anonymous stamp from Timmy Holtz, these beautiful circle paint splats, and I'm just using orange, yellow and pink inks to create a background for the photos to sit on. So the photos, I printed the one of Libby in 3x4, and the one of Amelia I printed in 4x6 and then trimmed down. So it's about 4x5, I would say. And they sit really nicely together on the page. So I'm just creating this background. As I mentioned, I've got Spiced Marmalade is the orange that I'm using, Fossilised Amber for the yellow, and Picked Raspberry for the pink. I just love these colours together, and they work beautifully with the blues in the photo. There's also quite a lot of pink in those photos, so I really like how this looks together. So you can see I'm just bringing the photos in and putting them to one side as I build up that background. Then I wanted to add some splatters in the colours as well. I wasn't too precious about cleaning the stamps and the paintbrush each time I changed colour. So the colours did blend a little bit, but I do like the look of that, so I'm not too worried at all. So I'm adding plenty of splatters using the orange and the pink, and then I'm going to put it to one side to dry, and also blending a little bit of the colours into the other colours, if that makes sense. So where the pink circle is, I blended a bit of that orange in. So while I've left that to dry, I'm just going to map my photos onto this beautiful diagonal striped paper. Just pulled out my scraps envelope, and that's what I grabbed for. Just keeping it nice and simple really, because I want the mixed media to shine on this page. Obviously the photos as well, that goes without saying, but it's predominantly mixed media in the background that I've worked on, rather than using papers to focus on. So that's how the photos are going to sit. Here's the layout. I'm just going to blot up what's left of the water on there. It's more or less dry, but I just want to make sure I'm not smudging everything like I have done in a previous video. So that's how the photos will sit. I pulled out a few little bits and pieces, but first of all I want to get a little bit of this beautiful stencil on. This is Katie Pertiet's new stencil. Vintage Makers is the collection. It's more of a journaler's collection. There are no 12x12 papers, but there are some really nice stamps and stencils in this set. So I'm using that same pink, the Picked Raspberry, to push through this stencil, and I'm creating a slight diagonal from top right to bottom left. And it creates these gorgeous diamonds, sort of distressed diamonds in the background. And I'm happy using the pink because I wanted to bring a little bit more pink in. I felt it got a bit lost in those circles. That title, Happy, is from the Sunburst 49er Market collection. I just pulled it out of the tub before I started. And I've also got some tags you can see in the top left along with those tickets. So I wanted to bring a little bit more yellow into the page, so I'm just using the packaging technique just to add a tiny bit of yellow to the top left and bottom right there. The bottom right actually gets covered. I'm just looking at the layout now. It's completely covered, which isn't unusual for me, but there you go. So in my drawers of my desk, I've got a little tub that I keep all the tags from collections. When I finish with a collection and I'm breaking it up, I cut the tags up and put them in that tub, and I definitely don't reach for them nearly enough. So today I thought I definitely need to try and use some. So I pulled these two pink ones out, and the one that I've put on the right hand side there says no one stacks up to you. And it's got a stack of pancakes. Didn't want to keep the pancakes on there, but I thought that phrase was quite cute, seeing as they'd won a quiz. So I'm using that, and then you can see I'm just using a load of the 49er Market Ticket Essentials to build up some layers behind the photos. So just pulling things apart and trying them behind those photos. I spotted a little arrow piece on these orange ones. I don't have very many orange ones. My lovely friend Julie gave me those. She gave me some when she got the orange set, so I've got them in a little bag in my drawer, and rather than hoarding them I thought I really should get on and use them. So I'm trying my best, but only one little arrow set today. So now I'm just going to glue this all together as a mat. so that I can move it to one side and use the new stamp set that I've got from the Katie Pertiet collection. So just slowly going around and gluing these tags to the photos, and then I shall glue the photos together, and then I can move it out the way to add my stamping. So I don't know whether you've seen this new collection from Katie Pertiet, but it really is lovely. I did a quick walkthrough on the Hey Little Magpie YouTube channel this morning so that you could see what was in there. I did forget to show one of the stamp sets and the PET tapes, but it really is a lovely collection. It gives you an idea of what's in it. So do go and check that channel out if you haven't already. There's some wonderful layouts on there from the creative team. We've got Kiri and Gina and Jackie all doing process videos on there too, and Sam, of course. So just finishing with these tickets, I brought in some yellow ones as well, just to mimic the colours that I've got in the background, the orange, pink and yellow. And then here's that gorgeous stamp set that I was talking about. So this is called Maker's Marks. And it is all just little marks that you can add to your background just to layer up. So I'm using my black soot, and I'm just going to create some subtle marks on the background. The black really makes those bright colours pop, and that's why I wanted to use black for this. So first of all, these striations. So I'm adding this in 3 places, top left, bottom, and then top right. So there's the third one, and I've turned that stamp around as well so that sometimes it's the other way round. And then once that one's done, I'm going to bring in a background of circles. It's just lots of little rings, if you like, that are joined together. It's a design that you'll see a lot in Katie's papers that she's created in the past for 49er Market. And I just want that peeking out of a couple of sides of the photo. It was really quite hard to work out which way up to put it once I'd pulled it off the backing and started to add the ink, but I worked it out on the second stamp. The first stamp, I would have preferred it to have been slightly more upright, but it doesn't matter. It's more or less covered anyway, so it really doesn't matter. And then this lovely set of 3 rings is going top and bottom. In fact, I think I covered the top piece at the end as well. But you can see how that makes such a difference to the background, having those little bits of black on there. And I do adore that stamp set. I can see me using it an awful lot, and this stencil as well. Really pleased with them. So there you go. Look, I've covered those 3 rings with the tag at the top there, but no matter. That's how I wanted the photos to sit, and that was the most important thing. So I'm just getting this chipboard title stuck down. As I say, that's from the Sunburst 49er Market collection. And I just thought it went really nicely with these photos. And then I'm going to add some journaling underneath. And it's just about where we were. We'd been to see rock opera on the boat, and then they ran straight into the Beatles quiz that they wanted to do. It was all of them. George was there, and my husband and my brother-in-law. So just adding the date there, and you can see I really messed up. I always check that my stamp is the right way around, but for whatever reason I didn't today, and it was upside down. What are the chances? You get 50-50, don't you? And it's going to be wrong. But I just double stamped. It's a nice messy mixed media background, so it didn't matter too much, and I just added a few more stamps just to create that messy look. And then these pieces that I'm adding now, 2 tabs from the labels, from the Ellie Studio label stamp set. I spent some time ages ago, probably almost a year ago, stamping out some images and then cut them out and have them in a little box in my desk. So I spotted those and decided to pull them out. And now I'm going around with some sequins that I pulled out from my stash and just adding those. I won't make you watch me gluing them all down, but I'm just sprinkling them, as you can see, in 3 areas. That bottom left, middle right, and then top left. And I've got gold, white and yellow going into those sections. So now they're down, I've gone back into my drawer to see what else I could find. And I've got these actual brads from Simple Stories. That shows how old they are. And I just find 3 of those to add to the layout as well. And you can see I'm just using my scissors to cut a slit in the background so that I can poke the prongs through and fold them back on the back. So I will probably cover those prongs with tape. just so that they don't damage other layouts when I'm putting this layout in the album. So there's the third one going in, or is it the second one? That's the second one. This is the third one now, just a little one, and it's got a pair of lips and a heart on it. They're quite cute, these. I think the collection was Kate and Ash, this Simple Stories collection. It was gorgeous. So now into the Tim Holtz word books. I love these, just little words and phrases. So I found a few to add to this layout. I've got do your best, make it happen, never give up, and believe in yourself. So all phrases that work nicely with the fact that they won a quiz or that they were entering a quiz. And I like that you've got some white on black and some black on white as well. So I needed to add some twine to my tags, so just going through the top tag with some orange twine and then threading it through that second tag and leaving it to trail down on the right hand side. And I like the shape that creates as well. It creates real movement from the top down to the bottom of the layout. So just adding a dot of glue here, and I'll use my roller date stamp just to hold it in place. And I really felt this layout needed a border to finish it off. So I'm just going to do a doodle border all the way around the edge. So I just create tram lines all the way around, making sure that they overlap in places. And then I'm just going to create a diagonal stripe all the way around in the gaps that are created between the two lines. So you'll see what I mean in a second. So starting up here, and I'm just doing a slight diagonal. And I'll keep the diagonal stripe the same all the way around for continuity. So you can see how that's building up. It doesn't take too long. And there it is finished. And then I decided I want a little bit more black, so I'm just going to come in with my Tim Holtz watercolour crayons and water that down and add some splatters with a small paintbrush, just some teeny tiny ones, just to bring that black around the page a little bit more. And that's the layout done. I hope I've provided you with some inspiration. Do go and check out the new Katie Pertiet collection. It's really lovely and mixes beautifully with her other collections from both 49er Market and Arden Creative Studio. So just finishing off those splatters, and that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I shall see you very soon. Bye.